recently, Billboard came out with the top artists of the 21st century. What they did was they actually put Taylor Swift at number 2, and Beyonce might be at number 1, but as of the recording of this video, nobody knows, but we're all pretty sure it's Beyonce. It kind of has to be Beyonce, right? And we'll talk about why that's the case. And let's also talk about the reaction that people have been giving to the news that some of their favorite artists are kind of like on the list and lower than they expected, but Taylor Swift is probably the biggest example. So I put the list up on the screen here so you can see it for yourself. Let me scoot over. Okay, here it is. So when you look at this list, I know some of your favorite artists are lower than you expected. Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, Justin Bieber, right? I mean, I know you're like, what is going on? Who made this list? And that's a great question. A lot of us don't know the back end of what's going on at Billboard, who makes these decisions. But for someone to decide that Lady Gaga is this low, that Bruno Mars is this low, right? And then you're like, where are the other people that I think should be in top 10? I think the biggest thing that we need to recognize right now is that the fans of Taylor Swift are seething. I mean, like the comments that are popping up on X or Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the reaction has been visceral to Taylor Swift being put at number 2. Now, first of all, let's talk about Taylor Swift being in number 2 and people's reactions, because I think folks need to calm down. Taylor Swift is an incredible talent. Songwriting, awesome, singing, whatever. But I think her performances and her energy has been high, and she's not an artist to be trifled with. I mean, some of her albums first week have hit 500,000 album sales. First week. That is amazing, okay? Like, I think people sometimes misunderstand that it's not that Taylor Swift is not a generational talent, but the top talent or artist of the 21st century. Before you go in my comment section and you start typing out this entire paragraph about why Taylor Swift is better than Beyonce, let's first understand that Beyonce has been around much longer than Taylor Swift. Someone made a great point. Taylor Swift was not even heard of or known until around 2006. And even then, she was still doing country. She wasn't even really doing like the pop thing, right? Where a lot of artists on the list that we just saw are a lot of pop artists. And, you know, that's just the truth, right? Pop music, popular music is usually the list that we're looking at, right? Michael Jackson, King of Pop. Like, we know that pop music is gonna be kind of top 10 artists, and she's on that list. Like, that's not an argument. But to go above Beyonce has been around, and I think her first album drop was like 1990 something. And then on top of that, she's been making all types of hits, all types of waves in pop music through Destiny's Child, through her first album and everything. I mean, Beyonce has been monumental inspiration to so many pop artists and R&B artists over the decade, right? And so the thing that we have to understand is that it's not that Taylor Swift is not an amazing talent, but Beyonce is gonna edge her out just a little bit. I mean, we can sit down and look at impact, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, Taylor Swift has this many Billboard number ones, Beyonce has this many Billboard number ones, Taylor Swift has more than Beyonce. Taylor Swift also has more Grammys and awards and things like that. But I think what we need to talk about is impact. Here's a question. Do you think that if you were to sit down with Beyonce and Taylor Swift and you say to them, who are your inspirations? Do you think Taylor Swift would say Beyonce? Or do you think Beyonce would say Taylor Swift? In my opinion, I think if you're looking at the biggest artists of the 21st century, which, by the way, just an aside, it is way too early to have the list like this. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. Who in the world, Billboard, I'm talking directly to you. Why in the world would you make a greatest artist of the 21st century when we're not even halfway through the 21st century? It's not even 2050 yet. What are y'all doing? At this point, you're running out of content because we're not even halfway through the 21st century. Why are we making a list like this? And then a lot of the artists that are on this list, they weren't even known until like a third way in to the 21st century. This is weird. Some of the artists on that list were not even known until like 2010. What are we doing? Like, can we slow down just a little bit? Can we do the greatest artists of the last 25 years? That's a good one, right? 2025 is right around the corner. You guys could have released this at the top of 2025. We could have did the greatest artists of the last 10 years. That would have been a better argument. I mean, the 21st century, what are we going to say when 2099 rolls around? And we look back at this list and we're like, this is outrageous. So, and of course, right, we don't want to dismiss the fans, right? Taylor Swift's fans, otherwise known as Swifties, rival that of Beyonce's fans, known as the Bayhive. And these two fandoms are some of the scariest, most dangerous. They're almost like the mafia, right? They will dox you. They will find your address. They'll find where you live, your mama live, your grandmama live, and then they'll send hate mail to your job. Yes.
What are you talking to?
I'm doing a video right now. You gotta hold on, okay? You wanna sit in here? The joys of being a father. We have a special guest today. Say hi. Now, looking at these two fandoms, I understand how the Swifties and the Bayhive are gonna start clashing. If I was a Swiftie, I would be heartbroken. I would be like, I cannot believe this. Beyonce, what? Okay, Cowboy Carter just came out and it flubbed, right? As an album, as a piece of work, it flubbed. And I think a lot of people are looking at Cowboy Carter as a reason why that Beyonce should not be at number one, right? But what people seem to forget is that Beyonce has a storied past that rivals that of Cowboy Carter. All of these albums and all of this music, not to mention, not just when she was a solo artist, but as well when she was with Destiny's Child, there has been so much work that she's done that people seem to be overlooking, and I don't quite understand why. Again, Beyonce's career is older, much older than Taylor Swift's. And I think it's a little weird for us to sit around and act like that's not the case, okay? Another part of this equation that we have to talk about is the racism. Anytime a black person, especially a black woman, is put at number one for anything, you can automatically expect all of the racists to come out the woodwork because that's just the way it is, right? You're not allowed to have somebody like that at number one, especially when they're rivaling or they're going above somebody who is white, a white woman to be specific. In some weird way, they victimized Taylor Swift, making it seem like she's some type of like poor little puppy who, oh, I can't believe, why would you guys put her at number two? How dare you? Stop it. Taylor Swift is a billionaire. Do y'all realize that? Her last tour netted her billions of dollars. Okay, this list is not going to somehow eradicate those billions, and it's not going to hurt her feelings. She's going to wake up tomorrow, be a billionaire, have a great time, fly her private jet, go do a tour or a concert, go back home, pet her dogs, go back to sleep in her $1 million bed, and wake up tomorrow a billionaire again. Y'all have to stop acting like Taylor Swift is looking at lists like this, or even Beyonce is looking at a list like this and sitting around crying and being sad because they are not at the top. And also that includes the other artists that we mentioned earlier, Bruno Mars, Justin Bieber. These guys are okay. These lists mean nothing except to us. It means something to us because we're their fans, right? They are comfortably fine with not caring about stuff like this. However, we are gonna fight and squabble because that's what we do as people. We'll sit around on the internet and we'll argue about why somebody who's richer than us and more powerful than us should be on a meaningless list like the Billboard's greatest artists of the 21st century, which again, it's not even the middle of the 21st century. This whole thing is outrageous. You guys have to understand, Taylor Swift is fine. Number two on the greatest artist of the 21st century is an honor. And honestly, I think that holds up. If you want to sit and have an argument in the comments about why she's better or why she has more, why she should be at number one, you're more than welcome to type it in. But we have to look back at Beyonce. A storied past, an incredible career as far back as the late 90s. You're talking about massive, incredibly universal songs that have just stretched across generations. You're talking about performances that have, entrenched themselves in the hearts of people all across the world. You're talking about things and artists that she's worked with that has really encouraged us to do better and be better. She herself has actually sat and inspired another generation of artists. Guys, on the list that we looked at earlier, the artists down below, that's like 3 through whatever number, those people have been encouraged and inspired by Beyonce as well. So to act like that's not the case is pretty dismissive, and really it's intellectually dishonest. Beyonce also has worked with greats like Prince and Michael Jackson. The truth is, Taylor Swift has not. And so a lot of what was great about Michael Jackson and Prince and others has rubbed off on Beyonce. And that type of inspiration and energy simply has yet to run off on Taylor Swift. Not to say she hasn't been inspired by these individuals, but working hand in hand with somebody right next to them and hearing about them in stories is two different things. How many artists have got on stage and thanked Beyonce for their Grammys and their People's Choice Awards and their Oscars and their college and high school diplomas? People get on stage and thank Beyonce because she's an inspiration, guys. She's an inspiration, and we have to accept and understand that. Again, Taylor Swift, incredible artist. I think she does really well. Her songwriting skills are bar none. I mean, honestly, her writing skills are awesome. We've seen some incredible music from her. Her albums are hard hitting and some of them very introspective. Her lyrics sometimes are very questionable, especially on that last album. I don't know what she was doing on that last album, right? But I mean, just like people judge Cowboy Carter, not everybody has a great album, right? Sometimes you got some stinkers, but that doesn't make you any less valuable. And at the end of the day, these lists, guys, these lists are trivial, right? We have to understand as fans that these guys have had much bigger influence on all of us outside of some list from Billboard who's making it too early. This list is too early. I don't know. I don't understand. It's ridiculous. So let's pay respect to Beyonce. Let's pay respect to Taylor Swift equally. These women are awesome. They've done a lot of work, and it's time for us to look at lists like this and just look at them as what they are. It's just content, guys. It's just content. Okay, Billboard has you guys talking about Billboard, not just about Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Billboard did this as a marketing ploy to get you guys to talk about them, and it's working. And you guys are fighting amongst each other, right? And Billboard gets to watch you poors fight amongst each other about who is the greater artist. They don't care what you think. And at the end of the day, this list is probably going to change in 2050 because again, it just wasn't time for this list. So let's put the racism aside. Let's be respectful of each other, and let's be respectful of each other's respective fandoms, right? The Swifties and the Bayhive. And let's look at these women as what they are, incredible artists and deserving of any accomplishment and any recognition they get moving forward.